What's going on, everybody? This is Roster of the Misfit Effect. And of course, I'm always joined with my wonderful co-host, Miss Sarah Lace.
Hello, 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 everybody. So, we are obviously back at it again with a new guest. And mind you, I may not say this often, but I'm a really big fan of piercing. So, that's the first thing that caught my eye was, yep, that piercing that I'm
Gross.
looking at right now. Mm.
So, Mr. Dom, I'd like tell about yourself, Mr. Arch.
How you
You
doing?
didn't introduce him.
Well, I'm asking because 'cause I know he does multiple things because he's a
Mm.
Findom. He does
Mhm.
domination. He like he said he looks like Wolverine. So I'm trying to
He
see
does.
the whole Wolverine thing is going on right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I know he does a lot of psychological things with his fin domination types of thingy majigs. So I want
Mm.
to know more than what's listed here because it's always more like to a person than just what's in a little bio. So I want to know more about you.
Mm.
Like how would you describe yourself?
I am a all around just general deviant, I guess, kind of to
Mm.
put it. Like nothing I do is traditional. Nothing I do is really, I mean, it doesn't fall within categories of normalcy. It just
Mm.
Okay.
suspend belief for a minute because the things that I've been doing and do online are just they're amazing. And
Mm.
in real life. I mean, I live a pretty exceptional life too. So it's
Because
just, yeah.
because I know like for me, I've been a plethora of females um who are fandoms. You're the first male that I've met that is fandom. So what's the
Mm.
difference in as far as in the worlds because of that? Like I don't
Well, I think the most of my clientele is gay. So there's a
okay.
lot of people that consider Findom to be only a heterosexual or a heteronormative kind of thing. But I think
Mhm.
that the gay men have done a really good job of fetishizing just about everything in life. So, any type of toxic
Yeah.
behavior, any type of standard of masculinity, any type of facial feature, any type of body feature, the gay men have done
Mhm.
a really good job of fetishizing it.
I
So,
can definitely see that. Yes.
so you have a culture that's really good at that, and then you have people that are carrying around the trauma of persecution, that are carrying around the
Mhm.
trauma of coming out of the closet and really, like hard times and being accepted within their life. And then they get into the gay world and it's all very cliquish. It's all very, what label are you? Are you a twink? Are you a bear? Are you a otter?
Mhm.
Whatever. And it just, for these people, they just want to be.
I don't want to interrupt because you probably made a good point there. What do you mean by a bear, a tank, or an otter? I haven't heard these
It's
terms.
identity.
You
It's how
gotta,
A
you gotta,
people,
description for the kind of person that you are,
okay.
yeah.
No,
like
I'm
in
just
the
saying
gay
I've never heard
community.
that term like used.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to make sure that myself, and the audience understand what that is. Because I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I understand like if you're
Again,
referring
you come
to
out once as gay, and then you're bigger, you're hairier, you're not the cut type of
Mhm.
beautiful person that the gay world kind of celebrates a little bit.
okay.
So
Mhm.
Oh, I see what
finding
you
your
mean.
subgroup of
So the
people.
bear.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
bear. You're something that,
Mhm.
this group of people finds this attractive. This group of people finds this attractive. It's just basic body shape, basic attitude,
Mhm.
just clicks. I don't know how else
Oh
to
no no
describe.
no no no! I just didn't understand 'cause you used bear and otter, and I had to understand the terminology. I just haven't heard the term used before.
From what
Mhm.
I can
And yeah,
tell,
I
it's
can see what you mean now
various
though.
degrees of hair on your chest. That's generally
Right?
what it comes down to is how much weight you carry and how much hair you have on your chest. So,
And I
Okay.
feel like to an extent, part of it is also the femininity that someone carries.
mhm.
I feel like part of that is within the description, like the
Well,
twink.
feminine, I think twinks carry a youthful look. It's more youthful,
Mhm.
the opposite of daddies or whatever. Again, I know
Yeah.
way more about gay culture than any straight man should, but um, this just it all comes down to just how you look, how you present yourself, and lifestyle choices.
Hmm.
There there are many words that can be used to describe the lifestyle that one lives within that too, and some of them are very triggering. Some of them, people take offense to, but within the gay
Hmm.
world, I mean, that is a lifestyle choice and a decision that they make to pursue that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Okay.
what is your favorite part about this? Or when you first, like, what caused you to first become a Findom?
so because of all the sex work that I've done, I
Hmm.
really feel that financial domination kind of spoke to me in the sense that I really wanted to work with like the emotional masochists, the people that
Hmm.
really identified as losers, really identified as simps, really identified as like that lowest of the low, just willing
Hmm.
to serve their superiors, and
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
the idolization that came with being straight, the idolization that came with being brutal. I mean, I
Hmm.
spoke to people's subconscious. I spoke to people's self-loathing side and internalized homophobia that they could drop that somewhere, and by dealing
Yeah.
with those type of people, I mean, they generally don't have kids, they generally don't have wives, and most gay
Hmm.
relationships have a partner and escort budget. So it's expendable income that's
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
so.
And the thing is, it also gives them a safe place to have that outlet.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because,
because the family feud answer that I've always said, like the number one answer that I hear from all my clients is, I couldn't even tell my therapist about this. So it's just like I'm doing stuff that like they can't even talk to their partners about. They can't talk to their therapists about this. This
mhm.
haunts them
Yeah,
for their life,
exactly.
and just to have a place to be like, oh my God, this guy gets me, this guy understands me, and he's good looking while he does it. Like that's dividends. I mean, that's
But
cash.
I also feel that it falls into that because I don't know how you do your fandom because some people from me being someone who likes being dominated in general like I
Mhm.
love the abuse of it whatever but I know a lot of people love the comfortability of somebody who makes them feel that they're forced to tell them everything. Does that make
What do
sense?
you like
Yeah.
about the abuse of it? Explain that further.
Okay. For me, it's this. It's like because like I'm me as a person, I'm generally like that nice, easy that going person.
Hmm.
And I don't fit the mold of someone who likes getting abused, like
Okay.
likes
Mhm.
getting yelled at, likes to have someone come up to me and say, look, bro, like whatever they want to call me and say this and
Mhm.
that. And like you said a simp a second ago, or someone who likes just to buy stuff. And everybody who has ever been in my home knows that's me. And
Mhm.
and it's just how
So
I
you're
am.
saying your people-pleasing tendencies that already exist within you extend to the bedroom as well?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I did not just love people too. I love getting I love the abuse. Like if I have paddles and whips, I love getting hit. I love getting whacked. I love getting clothes pinned. I love getting
Degraded.
degraded.
Okay,
Like
so you're a
there's
physical masochist and an emotional masochist, both.
yes, and
Mhm.
there's very like even though like I can't do a lot of it anymore because I broke my neck. The things that I still can do, I still want that. And there's some things that I can no longer physically do because of the injury
Mhm.
that I miss being able to do. You
Your
know?
wallet ain't broken. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yes. The wallet's
Mhm.
not broken, but
Right?
as far as the physical side, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. And when it comes to like the other side, it's kind of like, okay, like I'm kind of like a pay pig a little bit, but it's
Okay.
like I like to like good thing is I'm more asexual than I am sexual and other stuff. I
Sure.
like to
Mhm.
look at what the figure brings out more than anything else. So I would pay for all this stuff. She can tell you there's a big box of lingerie just in my living room right now, like just there
Mhm.
for no reason. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, yes, thank you for letting me look. And
Mhm.
then, okay, then I go in my room and just say, I'm satisfied.
Okay. Do you serve men
Mhm.
or women?
Exactly.
Huh? I just
Do
like
you
to
serve
admire. I'm just an admirer, you know. And And then I think it just deals from the fact that like a little asexual, but then I also like to get beat, and I don't even need to have the sexual
No, I
release.
understand the needs of the
Yeah,
masochist for sure. I understand like
Mhm.
what it's like to be living in that space of turned onness for days at a time, and release just doesn't feel right at that
and
point,
but one thing is like there's a few things that just like so like I've put on the chastity thing before, and I'll never do that again. So it's little things like that that I'm not too much into, you
Mhm.
know, and it is because it's a level of discomfort that I will go to, and that's a because you get hard that just feels really bad
Yeah,
compared to just getting hit, and then if you get aroused from that, you don't have to act upon it. You just whatever.
right.
So
Absolutely. No, thank
I
you for
get that.
sharing. That's a lot.
Everyone has their hard limits as well, and they change from person to person. And sometimes they even change from day to day. What you may like one day, you may not be okay with the following day as well.
when it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I don't know what you are used to like giving or telling people because I know because Findom like is a lot different than being in a room, hurting and doing this and that to people sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't because I don't know if your stuff is in person or if it is because I know so a lot of people do Findoming over like Zooms like this
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
things like that. So what is your your preferred form of, when you do your fin domination?
Well, for me, I mean, I'd prefer to do it real time because that's always fun because I'm a reaction junkie. I like watching people's faces and I like watching people's
No,
reactions.
no, I mean in person or over video is what I meant. I'm
No,
sorry.
in person, like
Okay.
live
I see what you
one-on-one
I see
in
what you mean.
person
Okay.
Yes.
at the Gucci store, wherever, like
Right?
um, it just the online thing is pretty much my bread and butter just because a lot of people, I think that as much as they like to be afraid, making that jump from real time to fantasy and fantasy to real time is always a risk.
Okay.
So it's just like
Absolutely.
they can be the most perfect pay pig for me online. They can be the most obedient because they're giving time, they've paid for the time, they've made the time for their arousal, for their sex, for their whatever it is that is theirs, the abuse, the whatever
Mhm.
it is, but I think that in person, it really changes everything. You have to really be on top
Absolutely.
of your game. You really have to be able to, for lack of a better words, put your money where your mouth is, because
Mhm.
everybody can be somebody online.
Okay.
Intimidation can be felt a lot more online from perfect strangers,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so if you
absolutely.
take it to that level of we're going to make this real, so much negotiation needs to come into play. So much just really intent has to be shared, expectations have to be talked about. I mean, there has to be massive communication that a lot of
Mhm.
people don't find that sexy. So
Yeah.
just like stigmatize that all you want and use words like not sexy, but this is going to prevent everybody from, feeling in some sort of way that I can't
Mhm.
control afterward. You
Okay.
just got to do your research and you got to be able to be really clear with what it is that you want out of this. And like I said, for a lot of people, it's so much easier to just do that online and feel that online. And,
Mhm.
I was dealing with, again, emotional masochists. So for them to have their feelings hurt by someone that doesn't really know them, that's a
Mhm.
That's a real skill to be able to crawl inside their heads,
Absolutely.
speak to their self-loathing place, speak to their inferior, speak to their sub, speak to their slave, speak to their whatever it is,
Mhm.
or their trauma, generational trauma of, just what it feels to be inferior inside a body that carries that generational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just to be able to speak into that like a therapist or like somebody that's really like taking notes on them and caring about them to the way that we're going to use this against you at some point. But at that point, I need to make sure that I've listened to you for X number of months, X number of
Hmm.
days, so we can do that, you know?
Exactly.
Quick question
And
then.
then also the proper aftercare as well for like in-person stuff. If you're doing anything too physical or too psychological, I know that there needs to be that conversation before and that
Yeah,
conversation after. Absolutely.
absolutely. And I was talking about this last night on a podcast too. Aftercare for this usually involves like building up and just reminding these people how special they are. Because to
Exactly.
be able to simp, to be able to give, to be able to submit, that takes real balls to be able,
Exactly.
especially to the will of fucking findoms and ruthless women and ruthless
Hmm.
men and people that generally don't have your best interest in mind, unless they
Exactly.
do, and you can't tell the difference sometimes.
Quick question then. I'm wondering, from what you just said, when you find somebody who can do what you do, what do you feel is the amount of sessions it takes for some people who become, your sub, and like how many times does it take for them to be fully comfortable with you? Or is it
There
generally the
is no
first time?
number. It's human interaction. For me, it's until the point we're really doing the thing, sporadic tributes here and there just to
Okay.
keep me on the line are pretty necessary. But until
Hmm.
we're fully prepared to go where we're going to go, there is no, I prefer to keep it to one or two.
Okay.
But I can't do endless emails. I can't do free therapy. These are all questions for your therapist. Like I say that to a lot of people. It's like, I don't, I'm your dominatrix. I'm your fucking master. I'm your whatever identity I need to be for you. I'm not your therapist. I'm not, a hooker. I'm not any of those things that
Hmm.
dispelling what I am and explaining what I am when people meet me at like places like Twitter where they're inundated with so much Findom content and so much personality and so much just entitlement and toxicity and just to filter that to my inbox to get someone to really take the jump with me down that rabbit
Hmm.
hole into their life and their psyche. That's all 5% of the 100% of messages I get, 5% of them will actually go there. The 95 others are just time wasters, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I ask my professional questions. I get a gauge of where they are in their life and what they can afford in their
Mhm.
life around this. And it just, everybody does this differently, and there are guys out
Mhm.
there, there are girls out there, they're just happy their coffee is being paid for every morning by a sub that wants to do that for them. $7 a day, $210 a month, you know, give or take a couple, but they're just happy with that. And for me, it's not about that. It's not,
Mhm.
I do it completely different than everybody else. So,
Okay. So I do want to talk about some of the things I do have written here. So I've heard you have a lot of kinky stories that they have people have made you dress like in uniform and stuff.
mhm.
So like what is stories that you have is that you consider
Well, people have
like
fetishes
no, like what
about,
would you consider is the most random fantasy that you've received?
well, and I think again, when you talk about fetishes, you're talking about specific things that make a person feel aroused.
Hmm.
And that
Mhm.
can be the fetishization of evil. That can be the fetishization of hate. That can be the fetishization of racism. That can be the fetishization of many different things. And whatever they need to feel that, they're trusting with you to fill that for them and
Okay.
feel that with them. So whatever that takes, I like the fetishist. I like the people that understand that an item of clothing or even a color or a smell or a emotion or just again, just really something in the world that they see the world taboo, and they're able to turn that into something that makes them feel aroused and happy, you know? Those are
Hmm.
always the people for me that are more interesting than just the kind of like subs that are just like doing my bidding, you know?
Yeah.
Like I have spots open for people to clean my house. I have spots open for people to do my dishes, you know? Like all that is
Hmm.
good submissive behavior, but that's reserved for subs. Those that
Mhm.
identify as slaves probably get it a little bit harsher if I'm stepping
Hmm.
that way. People that identify as masochists might involve, might require more physical touch with things or
Hmm.
more emotional touch with things and breaking them down as they do what I need them to do, you know? So it just finding that identity, finding that lock and key to be able to open up somebody and, you know, but my favorite scenes, my favorite things have always been just the people that had the not the craziest, but just the weird, the interesting, the unusual, the because I've heard it all.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
because I was reading one that she sent me that said someone asked you to trash a house or trash something, and then
Yeah.
you had to pee everywhere,
Yep.
and
The
that's
loss of
Yeah.
control. Again, you're talking about somebody who wants to feel a loss of control. So their condo, their beautiful, beautiful Palm Springs condo is being trashed, just trashed. Eggs on the
That's
wall,
awesome.
peed on the furniture, fucking just awful shit that they had to then toil and labor and hire people to come clean up. And how are they going to explain this to people? They're not. They get off on that feeling of uncomfortable within them, you know?
Yeah, that's completely understandable. I obviously everyone has different kinks, so I wouldn't go that far, but I could definitely see the appeal to that. That little
Messy.
that
Yeah.
little shame, that little embarrassment where you're just like,
Yeah.
ooh. In a
Yeah.
sense, it's like doing that walk of shame, you know?
It
Being
is.
like,
Like
ooh,
all
okay.
this person's
Everyone
life.
knows what I did.
Yeah. And all this person's life, they live a clean, neat life, and they are fetishizing mess. They're fetishizing loss of control and bringing a stranger to their house to do that to their house. Dude, fires could be set. I mean, there are so many different ways that we could have fucked that guy's house up,
Hmm.
that left him feeling like, oh my God, now I have to like spend more money and like take care of this. Like it just,
Yeah.
when you live by rigidity, giving yourself permission to feel out of control within a controlled environment
Hmm.
it's a necessity. It drives people crazy,
Yeah.
how they,
I feel like it's cleansing.
It's
In a
very
sense, it's
therapeutic and
cleansing.
it's very cathartic at times, especially with the physical aspects of things. When you're hit hard enough, you can go to trance places, you can go to fucking
Mhm.
subspace and just ride that out for as long as as long as you can.
one thing that
Absolutely.
one
I
thing that I
love
always
subspace.
that's what I always say, like, as someone who has hit people before, just to teach others how to hit people, whatever,
Mhm.
I feel that it's always important to know how to hit when you're touching someone physically, because so many people out there do not understand that it's an art form
Right,
Hmm.
when you are hurting somebody.
right.
Let me rephrase the second hurting. When you are hitting somebody in a certain way to cause pleasure, you're not doing it in a manner that would be associated with trying to cause them too much pain. Does that make sense? You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
like
no,
even
I
like
mean,
if you're
there's
if you're hitting
pain
with a
for pain's sake for
yeah.
sure. But again, once you start talking to masochistic people that identify, and that is part of their identity,
Hmm.
truly part of who they are, that they enjoy being hurt, they enjoy being hit physically, they enjoy being degraded, they enjoy all those things. Like that's identity. You can't, that's as unique as
No,
everybody,
like
you
what I,
know?
what I, what I mean is like for example, if you're hitting someone on a butt, whatever, you're not doing it like straight. You're doing it as a cup to like,
Hmm.
to
Yeah, I
cause them
mean,
pain.
the
But
safe way to do things.
safe, like basically
Right,
that's what I mean safely. When you're
right.
causing someone pain, you're doing it so they can get pain, but you're doing it so they are still safe because you don't, at the end
Hmm.
of the day, you do want to cause them the pain. You do want them to experience what they want to experience to get off in a sense, but you don't want to do anything that, could paralyze them or something, you know.
No,
Yeah.
you know, again, masochism is just one part of all of that, you know.
Exactly.
And like I've always seen myself more subbish than slavish.
Hmm.
And I know that some people like do not understand the fine line between each, but it
Mhm.
is a big line between each one to fully understand of what each one falls under, you know?
Sure.
And yeah. But question, like how long have you actually been in this role and stuff like that?
20 plus years. I've been doing this since the days of Yahoo groups and AOL chat rooms, dude.
Oh my God,
You don't
yes. So
look
you're
that
an
old.
OG.
It just
You don't look that
like
old.
I've been I've been monetizing myself for a very, very long time. And now with OnlyFans and like the normalization of people being able to sell subscriptions to their life, like
Hmm.
I can't anymore. I've done this for too long to see where it's gone now, and just congratulations that people have an avenue to be able to do that and create that for themselves. But I'm tired. I'm ready to fucking just tell my stories and fucking move on with the shit that I fucking need to get on with. But it just, I've done it all. I've made content. I've shot, I've done porn. I've done domination. I've done it all, and it just,
Hmm.
what I like to do is do stuff for me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sick of like not the performative nature of it, but just I know my life is amazing. Like get in fucking line. Like it just,
Hmm.
the admirers are nice, but it just, they're used to getting it for a lot cheaper these days. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
the support that
absolutely.
I'm getting just doesn't compete or compare with the people that are on OnlyFans with like 50,000 followers, you know? It just,
Hmm.
I can't do that. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to shoot that much content. I don't have time to curate that much content. I don't have time to, and the people in my life that want to support me generally these days have been women more than men. So
Okay.
kind of dipping back into what it means to have relationships and how do relationships look if there is support, financial support, if there is, because I've taken care of a lot of people. I've played caretaker and caregiver a lot for a lot of relationships with women.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
kind of my time now to just be spoiled and take what I need and meet people that can meet me there and can afford life and afford to do life because that's limited a lot of my partners in the past.
I definitely understand that because I feel like not everyone understands, first of all, the industry, and second of all, that subgroup that you have. Being a Findom, there's not many people that really understand the extent of what that means.
Well,
Like,
right, there's
because
no
you,
place for them to find it either.
hmm
Looking
some
on
people
Twitter,
believe that because that's what you're doing as your job, that's how you're going to be and act to them, you know?
mhm.
And you're like, I'm not going to Findom my partner. Like, that's not how
No,
it works.
well, and I
But
think too, within
mhm,
the BDSM communities, they've never really looked at prodoms as anything but a threat because
mhm,
one or two of them use the community to kind of look for clientele. But it just like you have to remember there's work sex and there's home sex. So it's like going to
mhm,
community, I look for submissive women because that's the open pool of places where I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to teach someone from ground level what this all means. And
mhm.
I do like corrupting vanilla girls. I really like non-scene girls that I can
Yeah.
kind of like show the dark side to, but it doesn't at this point, like nothing is holding my interest in that except to
Mhm.
talk to women, and just
Yeah.
they're making it wonderful and they're making it adventurous and they're making
Mhm.
it feel good, so that's good. But the traditional dating traditional, well, it's hard. It's really hard. And
Absolutely.
you
But like
know,
the dating scene in general has gotten more difficult.
it's a dumpster fire. I mean, it just
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
and it's
all
like,
like,
yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, the women that I meet on dating sites and like on any given like app would just be like they're Findoms too. They're used to taking,
Mm-hmm.
we can't date, but you can find me on my OnlyFans. And it's just like this was just an advertisement. That's the only reason that
Mm-hmm.
swiping left anymore is because they have the opportunity to make an impression. If the guy's gonna make it thirsty immediately and just meet them there and be like, yo, $10 a month and you can have that. And I don't even have to touch you. That's fantastic. Here you go.
I
You know?
That's
feel,
very
I think
true.
also when it comes, like, because you brought up dating, I think it's hard sometimes because some persons sometimes are so used to the lifestyle that it's hard to trigger back, you know, and then having the trigger back be okay with, be fully immersed, being okay with what you are supplying to the fan, like the, I won't say fans, um, the people who support you. And it's kind of hard for them to say, okay, I'm okay with this. And it's kind of like you don't want somebody to say like, well, they're okay with it. You want them to be like supportive of you doing it rather than it's just okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
You
It's
need that enthusiasm, you know?
Yeah, like someone
a lot of fuck yeah.
you want someone like
Right?
someone
Someone that
you
like
like
you
someone that
tell them you're king, so whatever, you're like, yeah,
that
do it.
organizes your emails for you. Yes, okay, don't forget Bob said he wants you to do this at 1:30
Right. Right.
on Tuesday.
They're
Jillian
like, are we
said
dating or are you hiring a personal assistant? Like it's just unless they're confused about what the whole concept of what it is that makes your life go, I
yeah.
mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think that that's the great thing about love is that you can have sides of yourself that you share with people and love that time with them and that spot, whatever that is, and
Mm,
then you get to bounce and go and experience something else you love with someone else. And putting that expectation on just one person to be that one or two thing like all the time, that's so much, you know?
absolutely.
I feel like
Monogamy
Yeah.
is such a tired trope because it just, why are we putting pressure on each other to be that one and only, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you can make someone feel like you're one and only because you share things in common, and that's special. That's intimacy. That's everything right there. Doesn't mean it's everything. And it just, they have to be totally okay with the fact that it's not going to be everything. It's not going to, that's a hard pill for a lot of people still to swallow that one person is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Some
I feel
people,
like people want the polyamory, but they don't understand that that's what they want, you know? And I feel
well,
like to an
and that
extent,
goes,
because
that's with
some people,
everything
it's
though.
just,
That's
yeah,
with
because
anything
the thing is, we
novelty.
want that intimacy with other people as well. And it's not like we want to go out and be fucking everybody, but sometimes there's those two or three people that they fill our cup, you know?
I get
Sometimes
it.
it's well, more than one person can be enough for you, you
I
know?
get it. And I think that if you're in the industry, you know this, the projection that people put on you about
Mm-hmm.
who you're going to be and how you're going to act because they've seen you through movies, they've seen you through whatever. And it's just like you can apply this adage to anything within our industry. For me, it's 90% of the time, everybody wants to do alpha male shit until it's actually time
Mm-hmm.
to do alpha male shit.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do porn star shit until it's actually time to do porn star shit. Everybody wants to do, just break that down however you need to, because if you see all the people trying to be this and trying to project this and trying to flex up on that shit, it just, you got to weed through that. You got to get
Mm-hmm.
through that to get to the people that are really actually about that life. And that know about what they're doing.
I think it's sometimes like it's like a messed up mindset because people always say they want to do this, they want to do that. But once they get into the situation and they see either the difficulty of it or someone gives them a peek behind the curtain, they just realize that it's either more work than they can handle, two, or is it something like, oh, that's what's going on.
Yep.
This
Mm-hmm.
is too much for me. And then they realize they aren't as either kinky or freaky or whatever as they think they are. And
And
now
that's
there's
why sex workers are such an asset to our lives because they can fucking show you that place and take you on vacation there and really
Mm-hmm.
show you what you're where you fit in all of that, you know? Where I mean, I think it's really our place as sex workers to show people that, and the people we feel
Absolutely.
comfortable enough to open that door to be like, hey, you really want to do this? Cool. Here, I'm gonna open this door. I'll be right behind you. Go on. Sometimes people need a shove, sometimes people need just a little bit of encouragement, but the lifestyle, I mean, God, dude, I mean, it's so because adult industry workers aren't necessarily swingers. Swingers aren't like it just again, identity and where you fit and where you
Mhm.
fall and how you present that to the world and the community that you surround yourself with. I mean, that's a bigger thing.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's what makes sex workers a lot more relatable. And the thing is, like, we all have different kinks, and a lot of times, like, we don't shame other people's kinks,
Mhm.
even if that's not our thing.
Yeah.
We're all about that inclusivity and making sure that everyone feels welcomed.
To some degree. To
Of
some degree.
course, of course. There's
So,
always going to be a few people. There's always going to be someone here and there. But in general, it's like we tend to be a tight knit community, I would say.
hmm
I,
Generally, I mean, I think that for me, my experience within community has always been cliquish, has always been, I've always been an outlier. And to the point where now, what I keep telling people is there needs to be a dismantling of the kink community, and it needs to be rebuilt as community kink. We need to start more
Yeah.
grassroots. We need to get people in that aren't just
Hmm.
I'm a dom and you're going to listen to me and that's how it is. Like this is our board of directors.
Yeah,
like
All the people.
exactly.
I feel that most of these darn people out here that are I'm gonna call them new doms. New doms don't know how to be a dom.
No.
And they just want to acquire that title. And then what they end up doing
Hmm.
is either like getting someone who wants to be as submissive, and they're new too. And then like because this person doesn't know how to dom correctly, messes it up, messes the entire experience up for this new person who is
Well,
brand
you
new.
gotta think too. You say new DOMs, you gotta think back and like, I don't like how much experience and like with the old guard you have. Like the old guard, the people that started leather and BDSM, those gay guys that had like the
Hmm.
eagle and like the leather bars and the rough standard of man that attended that type of event. And then
Hmm.
the marginalization of that to the heterosexual world to the point of 50 Shades of Grey. Like, it is so appalling how that all declined. And now the
Hmm.
new generation is getting all their information on BDSM and kink and all that from TikTok.
Yep.
That's
I've noticed
that's their
that.
education. They don't have the resources that we did back then to find the
Hmm.
communities, find the people, like it just it,
It's just like I've
Yeah.
seen some like because I do follow some people who are dom like say like call themselves dom on Twitter or whatever,
Mhm.
and I just see how they interact on that platform,
Mhm.
and it
No,
makes me think,
Twitter is the Wild West, dude. We're allowed to do
Hmm.
things on Twitter that the common person would not and sometimes should not be allowed to say.
yeah, but it was also
Yep.
but like in my brain because I know, and this is it's like hitting on what I asked earlier is that you got to find yourself a dom that that you could, that you can communicate with.
Hmm.
Because it's like sometimes you can go with the wrong one and like you want the communication for various reasons if you like that person's look or whatever. And then it's just a horrible, horrible experience. But then you find someone that it just works perfectly. And
Mhm.
I know, and that's why I brought up the new doms is like the horrible experience sometimes are from people who are just getting into it, that are getting their information from like you said, TikTok or whatever.
But
And
we've all been there. We've all
yeah,
been at the beginning stage.
Yeah.
It just like again, like I'll mentor people if they pay me.
that's
I'll
that's why I think some people really need some
There's
type of
no
mentorship,
pantheon. There's
you
no
know.
See, I
pantheon
say
or like
that too, but some people just want information for free. And I'm like, okay, our time means money, okay? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
we can't we're not trying to gatekeep either, but like people also have to understand that our time is very valuable.
I've been
Hmm.
And
accused
the
of gatekeeping
information,
a
we have
lot.
a wealth of knowledge that they really can just ask.
Yeah. Well, and I've been accused of gatekeeping a lot in my career, and it just like I keep this close to
Mhm.
the fucking hip because it's like, what, I'm gonna give you the information so I'll see you doing my job next week? Like
Exactly.
it's just like what and that level of like transaction, it's like, why don't we monetize that or why don't we like skill share that? Like if I can teach you
Mhm.
about this, what can you do for me? You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
like if I had a
A
girl
mutual
real time,
exchange.
yeah, that submissive to me, made me dinner, took care of the things that I needed domestically in my
Mhm.
house, and I would trade that knowledge for findoming any day. I wouldn't even have to fuck.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd like to, but it just like, like if we're skill sharing, if we're
Mhm.
like I know my value, let me lift up your value and show you what you're worth, other than making a
Exactly.
mean fucking steak, you can also do this and paying attention
Mhm.
to how you sub to me shows me what kind of dom you're going to be on the other side of things,
I think that's the one big thing too, like you just
Absolutely.
said, is like people don't understand like you know your own worth,
Mhm.
and they just think, oh, and I hate when I see this on Twitter or anything like that. Oh, you're just a dumb porn star. You're just a dumb dominatrix, and they get in their feelings when you say your time is money, and your time is money because you've been doing this for a long, long time, and you already have your own system that works, and
Yeah.
they want to learn the darn knowledge in order to even be somewhat on your darn level. They have to
Mhm.
pay the price. Nothing's free in this world. I mean, only thing free in this world is air, and that's not really free sometimes. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's, and it's also a sign of respect to know that if you're approaching somebody who is a financial dominant for information, that you toss them a couple of bucks for their time. Like it just,
yeah,
why that doesn't
Absolutely.
translate, Just like I don't have hundreds to give you, but I'd like to give you 25 bucks just to say thank you for sharing time with me today,
yeah.
If you keep it within the
Exactly.
community, the guys that are making so much money can share that wealth. Nobody has to go hungry. Nobody has to, like we're all within the same community. It's all being spent to the same common goal. We're all giving to the same places. We're all putting it in the same places, and we're living
Mhm.
micro community where it's funded by the fucking, Findoms.
They're so okay with like paying with like for paying for like a master class and like going doing all that, but when it comes to anything in sex work, they just feel that it doesn't deserve the same notoriety or whatever you want to call it. And it's literally the exact same thing. They're giving you knowledge in that for that aspect of what you're focusing on. It's like this is a different aspect that you need to, sit back and actually learn because, you're giving your money for their time. It is like they are a teacher and they are your educator. This is college. And right now we are in Arches College right now, and you need to give him money for being your professor.
Mhm.
And then he
No, just pay your credits.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just pay for your credits and
yeah,
just
you pay for your
Mhm.
yeah.
credit. Yeah, he gonna give you an
Right?
A, B, C, or D. So that's basically what's going on, and people don't understand that. Time is money.
Yeah.
Because mind you, even if you can't afford a lot, you can still try, you know?
You
I know
know,
some people that they can't offer much, but they're like, "Hey, can I just get you something off your wish list?" Or so, something along those lines like,
Right.
"Hey, I don't know this information, but I'm good at editing. I can edit some things for you in
Well,
exchange."
right.
Like,
And,
that's
like the
great.
original like retweet slaves and stuff and people that,
Mhm.
like retweeted content and stuff and like, thanks, here's your good boy. Pat on the head for the day, It's just it's a small thing
Exactly.
that if somebody has thousands of followers and, they do more than just a retweet and say, "Hey, I actually know this person," promotion and vetting and again, just like building community.
Exactly. There's so many ways that you can help out the content creators and the porn stars that you like. It's not just the money, it's also the exposure and all the things that we did just say. Like,
And using your
there's so
words
many
as a
ways to
tribute.
support.
And using your
Mhm.
words as a tribute and just talking about how much you adore this person and how much you look up to them. Just like look at their pictures and like comment on them and just shout
Mhm.
your praises. Like make your words a tribute and really show them that you're devoted to that cause, whatever that is.
Exactly.
Everybody
Like,
has
even just
that.
helping out with engagements, even just helping out with engagements is a really big deal still.
yeah, and well, anybody out there listening, I wanted y'all to say this. If y'all want to learn anything about stuff and you approach Master Arts here, I want you all to say, okay, even before you ask them for information, throw them something and say, here's something for me to here's something for me to ask this question, and
Right.
then ask your question.
Mm,
And if if he feels that the question is either too broad or it requires a little bit more, be prepared to pay it because you want to be where he is or want to be, somewhat and to learn from someone who has did this, whatever. Like
Yeah, they're never going to be at my level.
I mean, I
Like
mean, I know.
just so that's real clear, there is no
No,
way.
what I mean is like
yeah, they can try.
you've established yourself in a world already, and you've reached a high level. And if
Hmm.
they are coming to you and they're newer or whatever, they can at
Hmm.
least get like a cherry inside, like one cherry inside of a cherry pie, and they can say, okay, I can use this cherry, whatever. And weird analogy, but you know y'all know what I mean out there.
I know.
They get the stem in the pit, and I
Yeah,
make them want that one cherry out of that cherry pie
exactly,
Hmm.
so
exactly.
fucking much. They're just like, God damn, I just got to suck a little bit of sweetness off this pit, and that's all I got. I need that
Exactly.
whole cherry.
Exactly.
And there's a whole pie right there, and they just want that one little cherry.
Look,
Yes.
now I want pie.
You're right.
Now I want some pie, guys. Thank you.
Hmm.
Sorry. I was going to say a joke to what you just said, but I'm not going to do that right now. It's not the time and place. But
A cream pie joke?
yep, not from me though. I know who will give that to you. But
Yes. On that note, yes.
On that note, yes, Sarah needs a cream pie.
I lost my complete train of thought. I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
Oh God. Oh my
Goodness.
God. Oh my
But
God.
yeah, I'll be honest. I hadn't really heard much of Findom. Like, I know a few here and there, but I know that obviously there's a difference between Findom and Femdom completely. So it's like I
Absolutely.
like being like, okay, what do you do? Ooh, okay, what do you do? Okay, that kind of stuff. That curiosity for more knowledge.
Well, and the reevaluation of even what Findom means, like
Hmm.
I think lately with some of the women that I've been working with, like we're using terms like sugar subs because they don't want to be cash pigs. They don't want to be objectified in that way. They want to be glorified for the fact
Hmm.
that independent, wealthy women that like spending money on men, and just
Exactly.
whatever that means, however that's expressed, and it just that's amazing to me to see such empowerment within women to be like, yeah, I support that guy. Like, I just that's never never been something that I could have even dreamed of to that level, you know? Like
Exactly.
then anybody contribute, but supporting someone and really like being there for them and being the sub, being that just nurturing female energy with that and also
Hmm.
spoil the fuck out of me. I mean, it just this is good. This feels good, you know, and it helps me
Exactly.
again be reminded daily of my value and what I do for them. And you know, people's expendable income is how they choose to spend it is up to them. But I'm honored that a lot of these people spend that on me, women spend that on me, you know.
Yeah, because like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, because sometimes people, they save their money and they say, okay, I put X amount aside for Master Arch. This is this is his money first, and I
Yep.
will give it. Huh?
Yeah,
You
that's exactly it.
see, I would give it to him first
Hmm.
because this
Yeah.
this this is my responsibility to give my money to my master first
Right. I
before
have
I.
a saying, it's all my money, you're just holding it for me.
I like that.
You know, like it just
Hmm.
it really like if you're I've gotten guys to the point where the frivolous little shit that they spend on their daily basis. I mean, because people acquire shit. I mean, you go to 7-Eleven, people just buy shit to have shit,
Hmm.
whatever the fuck it is, you know? So to call comprehension and call attention to the fact that it's not your money anymore.
Hmm.
And when you notice how much little shit you're acquiring that you're giving to someone else and you've redirected that, it's a powerful, powerful thing, even if it's 30, 40, $50, you know, it
Hmm.
adds up and it feels a certain type of way, you know?
It
It's
definitely
holding a
does.
mirror up
Yeah.
to somebody and saying, this is who you are and this is what you do. This is where your money
Hmm.
goes. Is it really better spent doing that? No. All for
Hmm.
Master Arch, not for slave.
Exactly.
Exactly.
This
Right? Shit.
is Master Arch money.
That
So
that's how
my
they
my
prove
Master
their
Arch account.
worth.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
So,
So, we only, I know, so we don't take too much of your time. Where can everybody find you? Where can everybody, support you? Where can everybody, go ahead and get all the stuff in order to see, like, to make you their master or whatever.
you're just gonna have this
So
influx of
they can
money.
apply, okay? They can't
So
just
they can
collect,
apply,
they
yeah.
have to
Yes.
apply.
Uh-huh. There is application. Twitter at all four arch is usually a good place. Patreon, all things arch. Just got my first subscriber to Patreon. I'm fucking happy about that.
Hey, I'm crying.
It's
That's
monetized
number
apathy.
one.
It's completely monetized apathy. They just give money and pay per month, and I just don't pay them attention. So anybody that subscribes to that level of just like fuck you, pay me, I'm kind of cool with.
I
Um,
love it.
and then Elemental Kink at Elemental Kink on Instagram as well. So, but there's no
Perfect.
payment platform I can promote because nobody's paying me any type of affiliate referral fees. So contact me on Twitter. Patreon's the only one that allows me to, you know, it's all in my link tree on my Twitter. So
Okay, real quick, Sarah, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So you guys can find me on imsaralace.com. All of my links and my social medias will be on there.
And we are the Burbank Misfits on Instagram, Burbank Misfits on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks so much for coming on, Master Arch. I
Mhm.
think we got a great deal of information. Honestly, as
Absolutely.
I said before, you are the first, male fandom that I've ever spoken to. Because I've met many upon many female side. So
yeah.
it's
And ironically, the only one that matters.
exactly,
Hey, that's
the only
Just
one
right.
that
saying.
matters. The
Just
only one that
saying.
matters.
There'll
So
be some
so
riffraff in the waters.
I don't care. It's for only one that
Mhm.
matters. Everybody else is subpar.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so it's really good to get that perspective because I believe that it still needs to be out there. It still needs to be learned. So, I want to thank again the person who sent you our way. I really appreciate you, and we will see you all next week, everybody.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you.